welcome. We're talking about the Water Street project that will begin construction next week. My name is Will Zignago. I'm the project manager for Zignago Company, the prime contractor on the job. With me, you good? You rolling, Chad?
Yep.
I forgot to ask. We've got Tyler here with ISG. He will be our project engineer. Tyler and I, you'll see us on the job site a lot. So we're a good person to grab if you got a question. And then we got Brian here with DOT running the project with us. And yeah, so I guess I'll get into our schedule a little bit and kind of chat about our timelines and the different staging that we anticipate. So to start the project off, we're going to be closing down Shawano and Water Street intersection. That will be the primary focus of our stage one. The traffic control will also go down Main Street to, where does this bump out here? Basically between State and St. John, Lincoln Court that is. So the Lincoln Court area is where the end of our stage one will be. So our first focus is concrete removals in the intersection of Shawano Street and Water Street, where we will begin with any sewer work that needs to take place. And then the concrete removals will begin down the main line, the sewer crew, and all that will follow. Once grading operations are complete, then our concrete crews will come in, we'll get concrete down and follow them down the main line. We have a deadline of the 4th of July weekend to complete the intersection itself. So that is one date that we have to hit. Otherwise, the entire project completion date is October 15th, I believe. So that's getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. But yeah, so stage one, and I guess it's stage 1A, is this intersection and the main street here down to, what was that court again? Lincoln area. Now, how we're going to go about it is the main line pavement will be removed first, and we will leave the sidewalks in. We want to only take the sidewalks out once our main line pavement, new pavement, is back in, where at that point we'll come in and we'll peel out the sidewalk and have our concrete crews jump in immediately and fill that new sidewalk back in. That's our best plan of attack for limiting the access in this area. So that's how you'll see these operations proceed. So then once we finish with this stage one mainline area, our stage two is the Pearl Street and Water Street intersection. And obviously the rest of the main line in that area on the eastern end. So Shawano Street will be completely opened up, the detour will move to that side, traffic will go through there, and we'll have the Pearl Street area closed down, and we will follow the same procedures as we did in the last step, where we'll take the main line pavement out first, put it back in, and then go in, take the sidewalks out, and put those back in. And then, as we said, that will get us to our mid-October completion date. So yeah, that's a overview of the schedule. I guess schedule-wise, does anybody have any questions? Yeah.
When you go down Water Street, how will the access in and out of the alley behind the buildings on North Water be affected?
So you mean as trying to get to the alley from Main Street?
Well, a lot of our semi-deliveries come in through off of Pearl into the alley and then exit out onto Water Street.
Right, and then come out here.
Yes.
Yeah, so in any area where we have pavement removed at the time, We will have gravel ramps at all driveways, so traffic will still be able to travel through the construction site. Obviously, it'll be closed to through traffic, but we will still accommodate traffic that has to get through, right? Like there's a couple of parking lots over here that need to be used throughout the project. So once the pavement's gone, we'll have gravel down so you can get up into those areas. Now, obviously, there's going to be a time where there's a day where our sewer crew's coming through and they got a big trench there. So obviously that's something where we'll coordinate, we'll let you know, hey, tomorrow we're gonna be in this spot here, there's gonna be a trench where we put this new pipe in. So obviously we're gonna have to find something different for that day to make it work. And maybe it's something with deliveries, if we are going across this area where the alleyway spits out, maybe that's a day where, we see, is this good for deliveries, or can we reroute deliveries to a different day, something like that. It's gonna be us communicating, and you'll see us slowly cruising down the line, right? So, we all kind of got an idea what's coming up, what areas we're about to get to, and, we'll communicate with each other and make it work.
On that note, on days that you can't exit the alley, because it really is one lane.
Right.
Once a semi pulls in there,
Yeah,
they do not want to back up.
sure.
On days that access is cut, I don't know if it's a city or you,
Mhm.
could you maybe put a sign at the entrance of the alley when you come
Yeah,
in from
we could,
South Rural that says no exit, like,
Well, we could take our traffic control and we could make it a closure
just
for
to
the
let
day,
people
just to.
know in case.
Yeah, right,
you
so
know,
we don't get anyone in there
Because
that
we were
gets
trying
stuck.
to tell a company and
Sure. Yeah, and in those situations, like with the sewer crew going through, there are going to be very small instances where that happened, but it's, one of these unavoidable moments where the access is interrupted, so. Again, the construction is a slow process, so we're not gonna get anything lightning quick. You'll see us coming up to an area, and if you got concerns, we'll have ways for you to contact us, and we'll all be able to coordinate. Okay. Yeah, yes, sir.
I know you said you do the concrete out for the sidewalks and replace it right away. How quick is that to you guys from removal to done, so we have access to our front doors?
Yeah, so we were talking about this before the meeting, and it's probably not gonna be a situation where we go and tear the sidewalk all the way down the job, because putting that back in would be a couple of weeks probably. So what our plan is to attack it in segments where we can do a sort of a removal and replace, and that time period can maybe only be a week of interruption. And even throughout that week, while the sidewalk's gone, we can still facilitate access. It's just not pretty in that time frame,
So would you anticipate us needing to close for a day or two, given that? Because obviously for some of the places for fire code, you gotta have 2 entrances and exits, things
Sure.
like that. What
Yeah.
would your anticipation?
So I guess the only time where access wouldn't be possible at all is when the concrete's going down. And I guess with foot traffic and cure time, it's really only a 24-hour period where that limits that access. And so again, yeah, that will be
It's
maybe
probably a day closure.
It would be a day, yeah, for the concrete is really the only time the wet concrete's there, that's the only time that we can't get people in and out. So it's not like once the concrete gets removed, well, you're closed for 2 weeks. It's not like that at all. It's
Yeah, I just wanted to know the
not-
time. I knew there'd be some, and I know some businesses are closed on a certain day of the week, so,
Sure.
obviously if you can coordinate with them for
Yeah.
those days, that would be ideal, and for those of
That would
us
be
open
very-
7 days, we just figure it out.
Right.
That would
be
make it
very
a Friday,
helpful.
Saturday, or Sunday.
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. And again, the same thing as with the sewer work. You'll be able to see us coming down the line, so we'll all be able to coordinate as we cruise down Main Street.
Thank you.
Of course. Yeah.
Talk about work schedules, days of the week.
Yes. So work schedules are Monday to Friday, I believe we didn't have, the noise restrictions were 6 AM?
7.
It's 7 AM? So 7 AM to, I think, 8 PM or something like that. So whatever the town's noise ordinance is, we have to follow. Motorized, I believe that's motorized actions at 7 AM, nothing before 7 AM. The only time we would use Saturdays is if we run into weather delays on the project or delays of any other kind and we need to make up time to get us back on schedule. So at this time, there's no anticipated weekends, but it's an emergency outlet, so that's our time frame.
And then you mentioned in the pre-con meeting that in regards to the noise, there is going to be some indications at night for saw cutting just because of the timing for the day. So if you want to talk about that.
So, yeah, the one time where we will have late night noise restrictions broken, when we come down and pave the main line concrete, once the concrete sets up, it's usually at night after the work's done, 10, 11 o'clock, our saws have to, as soon as they can, get on the concrete and they have to saw it at where the joints are laid out, where we have our steel placed. I don't want to get too in the weeds about it, but you gotta cut concrete at a certain time, and unfortunately that happens at night after you pour it. So we anticipate probably 1, 2, 3, probably 5 nights where that will happen throughout the project. We'll have a night of some guy going around for a couple of hours and sawing concrete. It'll be loud and annoying. And unfortunately, it's just an unavoidable step of the process of pouring concrete.
But you'll communicate that so people have a heads up when those days are going to be.
Give a heads up when that's happening. And yeah, the paving the concrete, it's hard to miss that. That's quite an operation. There'll be a lot going on in those days. I do have obviously a big printout of the job here where you can come and get a good look at your specific area, and if you do have more questions, we can talk about them up here at the place. We don't want to talk about it all in the group, so please feel free to come up. Was there anything else we wanted to address? Were we going to collect emails from anyone? Yeah. Did we have a sign-up sheet that we're just going to lay out? Because I think one of the best ways to communicate is to get everyone interested on an email chain. It's very easy for us to send you our schedules and what's going on, what's coming up, a little information email chain. Would be the most effective way to communicate. So we'll have that up here as well, so please come and add your email to that. Any other questions?
Talk about the detour route.
Yeah, detour route. So for stage 1, what are we looking at? Stage 1 traffic will be coming up Pearl Street and out over to connecting Pearl Street to Wapaka, back over to Shawano. Will be our stage 1. Well, the Shawano intersection is closed. So once this stage 1 is completed and we reopen Shawano, obviously we'll close Pearl, so that detour route will be Shawano up and around the entire project. Those are our 2 detours that we're using for the project.
Do you know how long that Shawano Street will be closed?
We have to have it open by 4th of July, so that's our time frame. There's always a chance that it gets done sooner, but yeah, who knows, we could have snow in May.
With the way things are going.
Yeah. So that's the deadline we're gonna hit. So yeah, worst case scenario.
And the reason for the 4th of July deadline is because during that time, the railroad next to the Highway 1545 intersection is going to be reconstructed, and the DOT is going to reroute traffic through New London. So there's going to be a detour coming through New London. That's why they got to have Shawano Street open for that detour to come through town. So a lot of DOT coordination.
A lot of coordination.
Another little nugget for the summer. Yes.
We have an indentation in our roadways, we actually use concrete, I talked to Robert, I know that's not part of the project, but
Mhm.
we wanna replace that piece at the same time.
Yeah, so I have Nick from P&K who will be doing the sidewalk concrete work. And he will be a great gentleman to speak to about any sort of requests like that. All right, well, thank you everyone for coming out. Please come up and take a look at the plan, and if you got any more questions, chat some more. Thank you, have a great night.